Hello. The internet disconnected me. Isn't very good. What's happened now then, do we reckon? I don't know if anybody's watching. Is anybody watching? Basically, my home internet stopped working. Hello. Is it me you're looking for? Hello, hello, hello. Hi! You can hear me but not see me, that's fine. Hello. So my internet stopped working. My home internet stopped working. That's a bit annoying. And now my daughter is calling me from upstairs. She's meant to be asleep. Hold on, I'm going to have to put myself back on 5 minutes again. 1 second. Okay, I'm back. I can't stay long though because my home internet has gone down and I'm now running on my 4G off of my phone. I don't want to use up all my things. I'm going to have to curtail this a little bit short. I'll go for maybe 5 minutes on this, which means I'm going to have to massively curtail. What were we talking about? We were talking about Star Wars. We were talking about this one, weren't we? Shadow of the Empire. I don't know if anybody's watching anymore. One nerd who I don't think was in the previous version of the stream before it all crashed on me, said, "Yo, I was watching some Doctor Who, but hey, watch this for you, my dude. Thanks." Don't know if you still are. As I put up the back in 5 minutes sign, everybody was probably gone now, haven't they? That's right. My internet is terrible sometimes. Virgin Media, what you like? Anyway, what was I going to talk about? What have I got left to talk about in this whole transmedia storytelling conversation? I can't remember. that's a good start, isn't it? So yeah, Star Wars. I was also going to talk about the MCU because the MCU is basically transmedia storytelling as well. You've got the movies, you've got the TV shows, and now people argue that things like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. don't count, but I still say they do. Lewis Frisbee has finished season 1 of Red Dwarf. Excellent. If you like Red Dwarf, I have a Red Dwarf podcast. Do check it out. It's called Everybody's Dead Dave. It's on all podcast platforms and YouTube. I put it up here as well. So, what was I talking about? MCU. So you've got the movies, you've got the... I don't need the Star Wars thing up anymore, do I? We've stopped talking about Star Wars, kind of. I was going to talk more about that one, but I don't have time now. MCU. So you have the movies, you have the TV show. You also have some comics. And actually, let me show you... I'm going to have to go to the internet for this. So... Did that switch it? Yes, we did. So you've got these Prelude comics, which they did for many of them. Some of these are not them, but you can tell with the logos which ones are and the pictures. So Doctor Strange Prelude, Iron Man 2 Public Identity, Captain America First Vengeance, Avengers Endgame Prelude, Ant-Man and the Wasp Prelude. These are comics which are basically usually prequels to the movies that they're titled about. So again, that's part of the transmedia storytelling. I think I read all the ones for phase 1 of this. I haven't read any since then. But if anybody has, do let me know in the chat, because I would be very interested in finding out if they're any good and worth reading. I do want to catch up on them Spider-Man Homecoming had one, Ant-Man, Black Panther. Yeah, basically every MCU film tends to have a prequel comic that goes with it. So I should probably check those out at some point. Yeah, so there's lots of things that do this. The Expanse, I think, though I've not encountered any of it personally, is one of those things, I think, there where there's the books, the TV show, and an RPG, and I think some of them connect, but don't quote me on that. I've never actually seen it. One nerd loves Red Dwarf. Excellent, well done, but doesn't like Agents of Shield. It's not for everyone. And actually, there's like, it's a very mixed show. There are some fantastic seasons and some fantastic stories within Agents of Shield. There are also seasons which are very meh, frankly. I loved the way they tied into Winter Soldier, the movie, and the downfall of S.H.I.E.L.D. That was all brilliant. There was the season where they go into the future was really good as well. There were less good seasons, like the one where they went into the sort of framework, they called it. It was like a virtual reality world, and they spent half a season in there. That was one of the weaker seasons. So, it has its highs and it has its lows. But I do need to do, what was I talking, what? I forgot what I was going to say. I started a sentence and didn't know where it was going. One nerd says, actually, you've reminded me I should read the new books. Are we talking MCU books? Is that the ones you're talking about, the new comics? Or are you talking Red Dwarf still? I don't know. So, yeah. Was there anything else that I was going to talk about in this whole thing? I was going to briefly... We talked about Star Trek earlier. Somebody mentioned in the chat earlier that there was something where a Star Trek game then said read a book to get the rest of the story, but they never said what that was. So, if there are any Trekkies in the audience, what would you like to see from a Star Trek transmedia storytelling? They don't have much of an ongoing comic that I have seen. I think they do occasionally. I think there was a Kelvin Universe one, but I don't think there's anything set in the Prime Universe. There are the books. They've got a very good sort of track record of releasing books, which is where there's Star Trek Online, of course. So you could rope that in as well somehow. If you could rope in the TV show Star Trek Online and the books, and maybe launch a comic, that would be quite good. And actually, Big Finish did do some audiobooks of Star Trek. They did Star Trek Prometheus audiobooks, of which I've listened to one. So who knows? Maybe Big Finish could get in on the action as well and do a Star Trek audio drama. Imagine a full cast Star Trek audio drama from Big Finish. That would be amazing. What else is going on in the chat? Tyler Elliott Trelly says, I found S.H.I.E.L.D. was fantastic once they got back the first 10 episodes. I actually liked the Artificial World season. Fair enough. You liked it. That's cool. I wasn't keen on that season. Star Wars books. Yes, the Star Wars books. I made an attempt when I was at uni to start reading the Star Wars books. And I think I read maybe like 10, and then I kind of drifted off and I haven't gone back to them since. So there's a lot of stuff. And all that stuff now is not canon anyway. It's all been pushed into Legends. So I've probably given up on the Star Wars front. We didn't really talk about the new Star Wars one, actually. The new Star Wars Transmedia Storytelling event, which is called the High Republic. Let's briefly talk about that, because I can go to this Star Wars website. And Star Wars The High Republic is a smaller, I think, transmedia storytelling event, because it, from what I can tell, just incorporates books and comics. And it was announced just over a year, sort of February 2020, and it's been out now. I think the first batch of them are out. Set in a period of the sort of universe, the Star Wars universe, before about 200 years before the Phantom Menace is set, and it's a period which hasn't really been explored before. It's when, according to the blurb, when the here we go. Look, the Jedi Order are at their zenith, as they say, 200 years before the events of Star Wars: The Phantom Menace. This period on the Star Wars timeline will not overlap with any featured films. This was in February 2020 when this article was released. I'm pretty sure that they have now announced in that Investor Day thing that Disney did, I'm sure they announced one live action project that was set during the High Republic era. So that's, I suppose, kind of part of this event as well now. But at the time, it was just meant to be these. So these are the first sort of batch releases. And it's kind of novels and comics, predominantly, some of which are aimed at the sort of more mature audience, and some, like this one, A Test of Courage, is very much aimed at a sort of kid audience. So they're, you know, branching around. I don't know much about the story, so if anybody does, do let me know. But so Star Wars are doing it on a bit of a smaller scale than they did last time. There we go. Is the first book any good? I don't know. I don't know because I've not read it. Yeah, the tie-in series. They have announced the tie-in. It's the TV series, isn't it, that's going to tie into it. They have a lot of fun with what Jedi can do in a world where Jedi teachings aren't so fixed under Yoda's leadership. That's interesting. Yeah, because Yoda's around in this era, isn't he? He's around, and he's kind of the one character from the Phantom Menace prequel era that is still around at that 200 years beforehand. Be interesting to see what he's like in this period. So, you know, transmedia storytelling is something that's still going on. It's there's lots of things that I think it's a great way to maintain interest in events and franchises and intellectual property and all that sort of stuff. It's quite good. What else? Was there anything else? That might be it, really. If anybody has any more thoughts or anything else they want to talk about, I can go for a couple more minutes. But like I say, I'm running off my 4G at the moment, so I don't want to use it all up. What's going on in the chat? Chatting about the Star Wars by the looks of it. That's good. I've recently got divided loyalties, and once that's been read, I'll be picking up the books. Because why not? Why not, indeed? I mean, if it wasn't for the fact that it came out while Time Lord Victorious was coming out, I probably would have looked into the Star Wars one a lot more and actually considered picking it up. But I was so swamped with trying to keep up with Time Lord Victorious that I just did not have the time. Like I say, I don't have that much reading time these days. The main story is that a ship breaks up in hyperspace, the debris hits multiple worlds causing mass devastation, so Jedi are tasked to trying to aid worlds with hyperspace lanes being locked down. We get a new race of pirates who know secret hyperspace paths to attack cut-off planets. Ah, cool. That does sound quite interesting. One nerd says, I think when it comes to big media things, e.g. Time Lord Victorious, they should be all connected like one big story, not just two books that have all the stories and prequels to those stories. Yeah, I get what you mean, but I do kind of like the way that they sort of had this core sort of spine of the story, and maybe it could have been more than two books, admittedly, but they had this spine of it, and then everything else kind of just branched off and into it. So they were part of the story, but they weren't vital parts of the story, and that you could work out some of it. You didn't necessarily need them, and you could enjoy them by themselves as well. I think that's quite vital, that the story should make sense by themselves as individual stories that are also part of a bigger story, if that makes sense. So that when you piece them all together, you get a bigger story, but you also have these individual things that you can enjoy by themselves as well. I quite like that. KH Productions channel says hi. Hi. Yeah. Cool. Right. Because I'm running on 4G now, I'm gonna wrap this up. Thank you for anybody who, especially those who have come back for the second part of the stream when I had to restart it after my internet died. Ah, dear. Nothing ever goes smoothly, does it? Thank you for coming along, and yeah, join me again next month. I don't know what I'm going to talk about. If you've got any ideas, let me know. And if you happen to be watching this on replay, then do put in the comments below any ideas for topics for future streams. I was thinking maybe I'd like things that we can incorporate talking about various different franchises in, not just Doctor Who. So I was thinking of talking about kids TV and what we all used to watch as kids, because everybody used to watch something as kids. So, maybe I'll do a stream on like what our favorite kids TV shows were at various different ages. What did you watch when you were 5? What did you watch when you were 8? What did you watch when you were 10? That kind of thing. What cartoons did you love as a kid? But if you've got any other ideas of topics of streams, do let me know in the comments and everything else. And if you're not already, do subscribe. Talk about geeky pop culture, Doctor Who, a lot of Doctor Who, MCU, Star Trek, Star Wars, MCU, that kind of thing. So thank you for watching, and I will see you